Hey, this is Mitch from Castro Valley Fitness. Welcome to this week's Friday workout. Today we're going to go back to just a good old full body strength resistance kind of workout. So let's get right to it. We're going to start off with push-ups. Now push-ups I think they get brushed over. I think push-ups are one of the best exercises anyone can do. But I think people just kind of take them for granted. But push-ups, if you do them right, are a phenomenal exercise. They work your core, they obviously work your upper body. The key to push-ups is that people think it's an upper body strength exercise, chest, arms, whatever, and that they're right, but it's a core exercise first. I say that many times, but it's so true. You've got to get your core engaged to make sure that your body is moving the way you want it to move. And you want it to move in a nice straight line. So I'm going to show you kind of the basics on how to do a good push-up. I'll show you right here. So what I like to do, I always tell people, I do the same thing with squats, but I want you to grab the floor, okay? So use your hands, grab the floor, boom, okay? So what I want you to do is take a look at my arm position when my hands are just kind of laying on the floor, okay? They're just kind of there. Now watch when I grab the floor, grab it and then pull the floor apart, boom. You see how you can just see how much more tension I'm getting in my arms. And what's happening is I'm getting stability coming through my arm right into my upper back. My upper back is a big stabilizing group of muscles in my body. So by being able to stabilize there, I'm actually able to get my core starting to work a lot better as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the floor, pull the floor apart, and then instead of thinking about lowering myself down or resisting going down, I'm actively going to continue to pull the floor apart and pull myself into the floor so that I can do my push-up. So if you notice, my hands are almost going like this as I'm going down. So I'm actively pulling that floor apart. So if you see that from the side, you'll see that my back is staying nice and straight and my body is moving as one unit, okay? Now the mistakes I see with push-ups usually are one of two things. First, I'll see this kind of thing. So if you notice, my hips are kind of sagging, my head's kind of sagging. Don't like this position very much. What's happening there is my core is giving out and I'm using my neck and my traps to stabilize and I'm just kind of hanging on my spine, okay? So if I'm not using my core, you'll see that, and again, just kind of letting that hang right through there, okay? That's not what we want. And the other thing I'll see is, and the other thing that I see a lot of is this, where they'll be down on the floor and they get into this kind of a position. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but sometimes not so much. And this is the same kind of thing where I don't want to use my core to stabilize, so I'm just putting all the tension right on my arms, and this, particularly that front deltoid, front shoulder right there. So what I want to make sure is my hands are right under my body or right under my shoulders, grabbing that floor, pull it apart, and then pulling myself down. So if doing it from the floor is too challenging, and it very well may be, raise your hands up. So you can use a chair, a desk, I have a bench right here. Anything is fine, but you want to do the same thing. So make sure, again, that you're in this position. So you don't want to be here. You want to always think about perpendicular. So right there, hands right in front of your shoulders, and you're just adjusting that angle. And then again, grab whatever you got, pull it apart. See how I'm doing that? And then pull yourself in, back up. Okay, so those are push-ups. After that, we're going to go one arm band row. So if you don't have a band, you can use a dumbbell, that's fine. For a band, what you're going to do is get the band under one foot. You're going to grab that band with the opposite hand, take a big step back, and we're going to row it in. Boom. This arm is just kind of hanging out. I'm rowing that band back. I'll show you from the side. I'll show you from this side, actually. There we go. So as always, what I always say with rows are not an arm exercise. Rows are a back exercise. This is where you feel it. I'm initiating that movement with my back. I'm not initiating that movement with my hand. You can see the difference. If I initiate with that movement with my hand, I wind up here. Okay, so notice I'm kind of shrugged. Don't want that. I want to initiate that movement right here. Boom. And then it comes right back. I got good position at that point. Okay, so that's the first circuit that we got. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the next circuit, we're going to start off with an exercise called lateral lunges, okay? This is where we're going to be moving side to side. This is kind of a movement pattern we don't work on probably nearly enough. We do a lot of front to back movements, not necessarily a lot of side to side movements. So what we're going to do on a lateral lunge, let me move this stuff out of the way real quick. There we go. We want to start standing nice and tall. the idea is, as always, we're going to find a spot straight ahead, look at that spot. We do not take our eyes off that spot. We're going to take a big step out to the side. And I mean big. Try to get as long as you can. Part of what we want out of this exercise is a good stretch in the hips. Can't get a stretch if you're not kind of pushing that a little bit. So big step out to the side, push my hips back. So you notice the moving leg bends, the trail leg stays the same, locked out straight. I don't want to see this. I want boom. That way we're going to feel that stretch right in there. Come right back to the center to the other side. So a couple things to think about here. A lot of times when I see this, what people will do, and I'm going to show you this from the side. So if I'm doing this right, if you notice, this is a hinge movement. I'm pushing my hips back, okay? Sometimes people don't initiate with their hips, and they wind up in more this kind of position where they're upright. What's going to happen there is that all of the pressure is going to go right to that bent knee. Do not want that. We want to absorb that pressure with our hips, with our hamstrings, with our glutes. We do not want it just sitting on that knee. That all happens by pushing your hips back. Boom. Push it back. Right there. Okay? Notice I'm still staying upright. I'm not rounding over. Keeping my eye on that spot. Boom. Back and forth. Okay? So from the front, boom, right through there. If you want to add a little bit of fun to it, you can take a weight, dumbbell, kettlebell, even a heavy book or a backpack, anything. Just hold it in front of you. Boom. Straight through. Okay? And again, make sure your hips are moving back. Other quick thing there is, from here, my weight is going to be on the heel, not on my toe. Okay? So that's another way you're going to know if you're getting your hips back enough. Where do you feel that weight? It should be on your heel, not your toe. After that, this is one of those exercises that seems very simple until you do it. So what I want to do is what I call a one-leg stand on a block or a box or whatever. So all I need is it's got a little piece of wood here. You can use anything. You can use a book, you can use a stool, whatever, as long as it's nice and hard. I'm just going to stand on it. The idea here is, if you see me from my knees up, you don't notice that I'm standing just with one leg. This leg's just kind of hanging out, okay? Keeping my hips nice and even, standing nice and tall, and I'm going to hold this for, depending on your level here, anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute, okay? I'm going to breathe nice and deep. I'm going to use this foot, get nice and active. So we talked about grabbing the floor with our hands on the push-up. I'm going to grab the floor with my foot on the one-leg stand. I'll hold this for nice and long, and I'm going to go to the other side. Again, you don't need much here. All you need is something just so you're not having to stand like this. Sometimes with a one-leg stand, if you're not doing it on something, then you just kind of pick up that other leg, and you're just off-center. I want to get this as symmetrical and even as possible. It's going to be really interesting where you feel that one. So we call that a one-leg stand. Let's move on to the next. Okay, for the last circuit we got, we're going to start with what we call a 3-position toe raise. So I'm going to show you the positions there. I usually want to do this kind of with my hands on something, a wall, a chair, just something to help me hold my balance. I'm not using it to push off of. Just want to make sure I don't kind of lose my balance and kind of move back and forth. You'll see what I mean there. But I'm going to show you facing the camera because you need to see my toe position. So first position here, we're going to go toes in. Okay, so kind of a pigeon-toed here. I'm going to push off my big toe, and I'm going to come up, hold for half a second, back down. These are basically calf raises, but you're going to feel these, definitely in your calves. You also might feel this a little bit in the front of your legs. Really good for your ankle strength and mobility too. Boom, right through there. Second position is toes straight ahead, same thing. Push off the big toe. Third position, toes out. Again, push off the big toe. Boom. So usually, again, I want to do this kind of with my hands on something. So what I don't want to do here is, I don't want my hips coming forward, and I don't want to be rocking from side to side, okay, or back and forth, side to side. And depending on the position of your toes, that might happen, particularly when the toes are out or in, you might get a little bit of that. So have your hands on something just to kind of help you maintain that balance so that, again, we're going straight up and down as opposed to this, okay? Don't want this going on, we want this going on, okay? Straight up and down. After that, we're going to go what we call wall sits. So we've done these before. What we're going to do here is back up against the wall. I'm going to walk my feet out. I'm going to make sure my feet are about hip width or so. I want my feet pointing straight ahead. That's very important. I want to get about parallel to the ground, okay? You might have trouble doing that at first. That's perfectly fine. Do it wherever you need to.
Important making sure that your ankle is slightly ahead of your knee. So if you're feeling this in your knees, I would bet that your ankles are too far back. Move them forward a little bit. Just going to hang out. Look straight ahead. Breathe nice and deep. The other thing I like to make sure I do here is really pay a lot of attention to the weight distribution on your feet. They should be even, okay? It's probably going to vary as the set goes on. So kind of adjust your position a little bit to make sure you're staying as even as you can, okay? Hold that for, I generally like to say hold it for about 30 seconds to a minute. It's going to change depending on the person. Some people can only hold it for a little bit of time. I'd say if you can't hold it for 30 seconds, go for as long as you can, take a short break, and then go right back to it until you get 30 seconds. So if you can only do 5 or 6 seconds at a time, do 5 or 6 seconds, stand up, take a half a second, go right back into it, and do that for a total of 30 seconds until you can get the 30 seconds straight through, and then just start going a little longer than that. So that's today's circuits, that's today's workout. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. Hopefully you're doing well. Have a great day.